Big BBAI Holdings has gotten a massive breakout over that $5 level. We have been watching very closely over the past few weeks. Seeing that volume confirmation is backing it with a nice big wide bar. It is fitting we come on here today and do a technical analysis price prediction. Let's waste zero time within this, guys, and get straight into this video on the weekly analysis. We have seen stock price surge at about 6 to 7 times more volume than average, right? In these previous times, the stock price has rose up. We pull up our lines. You see we pulled up to $5 before knifing down. When you go down and look at the volume, guys, it really doesn't hold the candle to what stock price has been doing as of recently. With a peak of 100, 200 million within price action volume, currently we are printing around 500 to 400 million on average per day. And this was in the peak volatility moment, guys. So, we have been following BBAI very closely, watching this volume profile be very, very intense within the consolidation phase, which is very rare, guys. With that being said, we have broken out of 2 range lead breakouts, which should lead to a lot of higher price action. First and foremost being this descending resistance marker, right? We have this rough range. If we had more of a elevated position to be consolidating, this would be a bull flag, but this is in this context would be a channel. So we did get the breakout of this descending channel and over these major wickouts being that $4.50 and $5 level. Notice how stock price knifes up. We hold here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 9 weeks of price action, being very, very calm after an intense move up. We break over this with a strong candlestick and we immediately rise to these 1032 highs. Right, our last breakout, guys, stock price did fail at these levels being $4.50 and $5. We knifed down. Stock price was up a significant amount, about 160%, completely 180, guys. And the last time we did break over that $4.55 level, we did rise all the way to $6.70, guys. So looking at the weekly data, it definitely does appear that stock price really doesn't have much resistance at all until the $6.70 level, being that we are having a 2 weekly range breakout to the upside with a strong confirmation over that very critical level. Not only critical, but a psychological level being $5. These hard numbers, guys, $5, $10, $1, $2, not really $2 so much, but you get the gist. These hard psychological numbers offer a lot of resistance and support. So, to see that stock price has been confluencing, as we mentioned, for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, right over the top of this previous breakout level where in the past it's been so key, right? And we see that big wide bar breaking through. That's the best thing you could see, guys. We continue to mention that, as these short squeeze kind of stocks perform, the best thing you could see to break out of a big weekly structure, guys. I mean, we have about 4 or 5 months of candlesticks influencing here. So to see a big movement out, right, a strong price action movement, that lets you know, guys, that there's some serious buying pressure within the current market. So looking at the weekly analysis, guys, we have been on the edge of our seats, knowing that stock price has to make a move soon, being that we're influenced right over the top of these key levels and within this weekly range. We have seen the breakout to the upside, and as of now, there's a very high implied probability that, we really just surged to $6.70 with no issue. Really shouldn't be much resistance at all. When in the past, right, we surged to $6.70 before completely rejecting, and that was when we had, way less volume, guys. If we pull that up, you get a good indication of that. Our peak volume within that big spike was 160 million. As of right now, we're averaging around 400, 500 million. So seeing this kind of buying pressure, guys, breaking over this key level, being confluencing like we have, getting really, really tight. Stock price looks great, man. We've been really on the edge of our seat over the last few weeks, and it's good to see for the bulls, to see that strong breakout. So on the daily analysis, guys, the weekly, stock price looks very, very primed to continue to surge up higher. On the daily analysis, guys, we get an even better perspective of how key this price action movement was today. Right, when you look at the previous breakout day, notice how volume was descending into this breakout, right? Perfectly descending, and we get the huge breakout over the top, being a very, very clear, right, staple of within the last, month or so price action. We have a 3-4 times increase in volume with a big wide bar. If we take a vertical line to that day, to see how much upside we had after that, guys, right, being this very big wide bar, we did have about 48% in price action continuation higher before we did end up pulling back. But that really is, right, the thing we're looking at. As of now, right, I can't sit here and lie as a technical analyst. We don't have the data to say, hey, we're going to come up to $10 and break it. We don't have enough. But there's a very good chance, man, that we do, right, of course, reach 670, of course. But even these higher levels, guys, being 940, $10, this is really nothing for it, man. I mean, there's a huge gap within these resistance zone. The next one being clear 670. And something interesting, which we mentioned, right? We rejected at 670 previously in the past to a cent back in 2023. And that's when we had, right, 4, 5, 6 times less buying pressure. We didn't have a month of consolidation. So you just got to love what you're seeing, man. And looking from a short seller perspective, that's why it's been choppy over the last few days, right? They've continued to step in these highs, seeing a very clear confluence, right? And all these short sellers will get liquidated, as we've seen in the past, right? We've seen them very clear, right? Step in with these big inverted hammer candles, doji candle on the top, we knife down, gap down, buyers do the job, push back up. You see all these nasty wicks, man. Right when we close over the top, you get that short squeeze like effect, short sellers exiting the position, setting stock price higher, with new investors, traders, and all these people FOMOing back into the stock, guys. So with that being said, there's really zero opportunity for short sellers to step in and short this current moment. Stock price is very, very prime, breaking over that key level. As far as a very, very micro perspective, is there a possibility we have 1 to 2 days of a slight pause before the big movement? Yeah, right. With these big wide bar guys, they signify within the next, week, 2 weeks. It can be very instant, but they signify almost an instantaneous squeeze up, guys. And right, a good representation is this big candle in the past, right? Notice how it's very, very thin, right? Not much going on, not much going on. Then we get a meaningful candle, right? We pull back into this consolidation because we're still in this range, but we start to move up higher. So it really is a trendsetter. One big candle can take out a complete trend, guys. They can knock out a complete consolidation, and really can't stress that more, guys. So although we can't see a micro 1 to 2 week pause, not a week. All right, we can see a 1 to 2 day pause at max. That's really all you should expect, guys. And even if we do pop below $5 for a little bit, very good chance we just squeeze right up higher. So on the daily analysis, as a technical analyst, struggling to see any other possibility that we continue to squeeze up higher. Right, never say never. We're in a crazy market condition right now, guys, with the whole, Iran, US. But then again, these short squeeze kind of stocks are very, not responsive to that. So things look great. A little bit of a ramble, but you guys get the gist. We look good on the daily analysis. We're looking to target these $6.70 levels. And eventually these higher targets, it's more as 50-50, these higher levels as of right now. But as we continue to move up higher, we'll get more and more data for that. Within these kind of setups, most oftentimes than not, you do get a bull flag continuation pattern where stock price sets a channel, right, moving downwards, breaks out, setting a bull pole structure, a flag pole structure, very, very clear. Stock price pulls back into a rough consolidation, whether that be a flag or a pennant structure, eventually squeezing out and getting tight, spring loading, just as we've been, guys, over the last few months, but on a micro perspective. And then you see the upside. So will this happen, guys? I actually don't think so within this situation, as there's so much volatility within this current volume. And we've just broken over the most key level, once again being that, $4.50, guys, which if we zoom out, you just get a great perspective on how nasty that level's been. We came up and perfectly topped out, rejected that level. We came pretty close over here, completely 180. Right, we 180 over here. And once again, guys, anywhere near this level, if we lose some steam, we immediately flip. And in the past, we've seen even bigger representation of that, being a perfect top out of this area, multiple confluence at this point. And after 450, guys, it is the $5 level. Clearly in the past, when we did break over that, right, the second we did over 533, we printed all the way to 1035. So, there is a lot of upside to be had once again in the hourly. Perhaps we do pull back a little bit, but even then, considering this volatility and this newfound liquidity within the market, I don't think it's just a pump up, guys, and then we dip. All right, we just get crushed in and never comes back. I think this is a, liquidation of the short sellers. All right, I think we're seeing that very, very well. Every single data point is pointing to that. And even if we do have a little bit of a pause, once again, which very well could not happen, it's a great reality. We just keep squeezing up, right? I think this is the confirmation we've been watching over this last, about a month or so, guys. It's just been very choppy. We've had our situations we broke out here, but we immediately get tight right again. And, we mentioned that, once again, guys, to finish up our analysis, we mentioned that we're seeing some bearish signs with these inverted hammer candles. BBAI can have that FU-like effect and squeeze up, right? If that happens, we're going to squeeze all these sellers and have a dramatic move up. It's what we've gotten, guys. So in conclusion, we're breaking multiple different data points to the upside from the weekly, daily, and hourly. Stock price is very, very prime to move up higher. Hope you have a good day, man. Take care, trade smart, and peace.